All right, welcome to another segment where I kind of take a look at things on eBay and kind of scope out eBay auctions. Here's an interesting one. Let's take a look at this. It says it's a lot of 4 cast iron skillets for restoring. High bid is $44 with free shipping. So what exactly are we looking at? Well, the first thing we want to do is kind of figure out what size they are. These two seem to be the same size. This one might be similar. It's hard to tell. This one's a little bit smaller. Obviously, what we want to see is the back of these, right? Although, looks like this is a lodge right here. So let's take a look at the next picture. So here is one. And what do we see there? This is a single notch lodge. And you see there's the 1 notch, but there's missing notches over here. And there's the 8, so we know that's a number 8. What's interesting, what further confirms that it's a single notch lodge, is there's the mold mark, and you can see that it's sticking out, it's obverse. So that's a very early lodge. We can also see, though, that there's some pitting. And I don't know if I would say this is sulfur pitting because it's around the outside and not in the middle. But this is definitely an old pan for sure. Is it worth the money? Maybe. The inside looked pretty good. Let's take a look at the rest of them. This over here, it's another. It looks like it's got a single notch, doesn't it? But that heat ring is pretty darn big. But also, this could also be another single notch lodge. You see that looks like an obverse mold mark there. So this is one, and this is one. So we have 2 single notch lodges. It's hard to tell which is which. Let's go back to the other one. So there's this one right here. See, it doesn't have as much buildup on it. And then we go over here. So this right here, that's a BSR number 5. Nothing special about that. This is a modern lodge. Nothing special about that. So those are 2 number 5s. This looks like it's a little bit smaller. Maybe this is the 8. And this is, I don't know, let's see if there's more pictures. That looks like a single notch lodge. That looks like a single notch lodge. So 2 single notch lodges could be worth something. The insides of these look really nice. Yeah. Some rust there, but it doesn't look like it's possibly deep. Yeah, they look pretty good, I think. That's probably the modern lodge, and this is probably the BSR. Now, what's interesting about this BSR, look at those big pour spouts. This is definitely a red mountain. Oh, although, no, actually no, because it's not a red mountain because it has the number 5 on. But those seem pretty darn big pour spouts for a Century series. Interesting, yeah. So, what do you think about this? There's 2 single notch lodges. I can't tell if they're both number 8s or one's a number 8 and one's a number 7. For $44, that's not too bad a deal. Would you pay more for it? I don't know. But it's, if that's what the high bid ends up being, that's not too bad for those 2 single notch lodges. Check this out. Here's a pretty neat auction. Look at this Griswold with the label. Current bid is $105, ends in 9 hours. So this is a small block logo. That's pretty nice to see these with the original labels on them. I guess that's a number 9, or is that a number 5? Number 9. That's a nice little piece. Look at that. The problem with that is I would want to restore it, but then if this thing is glued into it, you probably really don't want to mess with it. but you're going to have to deal with possible spot rust. You can see from it's just sitting for so long. But a nice piece. So what I like to do when I'm trying to kind of search and see if I can find deals is I'll look by category and I'll search for auction, and then I'll do sort by number of bids most first, so I can look and see which stuff seems to be a hot kind of item. And this shows me stuff that people are bidding on. It's getting harder and harder now on eBay to like pull stuff up by category and bids. They kind of hide it so they force you to kind of wade through a bunch of other stuff. Look at that, a Griswold number 2. 2 days left and the current bid is almost $600. There's the Griswold we saw. Magnolites seem to be pretty doing well, but for the amount of work it takes to polish these things up versus what you get, I don't know. I don't see where the profit is in that, you know. But those things are really cool when they're shined up. Vintage Griswold large block logo, unrestored. Let's take a quick look at that. So large block logo, no heat ring, $56, 109. I don't know what size that is. Is it a number 9? Show us the handle. Show us the number on the handle. I can't read that. What's that say? Does that say 109 on the handle? That's interesting. What do you see there? See, I see 109. That's very odd. Looks like it might sit flat. I don't get a whole lot of Griswolds just because they're you know, they tend to be pretty pricey. Let's see what else we got here. Griswold number 10, small block logo, $112. Small block logos are the more recent ones, and the large block logos are the earlier ones. And then there's large block logos with heat ring, which are earlier still. That's an interesting piece. Look at this. Vintage Griswold diamond logo. Look at that. A griddle. I don't even know what year that comes from. That's pretty old, huh? Look at that. Pretty neat. And number 9 is a nice size griddle. I've got one of those. It's not this diamond logo one, but it's kind of nice. What else we got? Le Creuset seems to always be doing well. Like there's an Erie number 7. I was wondering if, you know, because of all of the concerns about the economy, whether this market is going up and down. It looks like it's kind of slowed down a little bit. Here's a BSR number 5. Some of these smaller ones, I don't know how economical it is to try to sell them on eBay because they don't command really high prices that justify the hassle of having to ship them and the liability of them getting broken. Like here's a BSR number 5, and it's got 6 bids. So $18. Is this a Century series or let's see? You can see the swirl marks in it. It's a nice little. Okay, so that's a Century. Yeah, that's a nice, pretty one with the swirl marks. So, including shipping, that's going to be close to $20, 19 something. Good to know that that's what a good number 5 would be going for. I think I put mine for $20 or so in my booth. I'd have to check. Square Peg Atlas and Sonia, New Haven, Connecticut. So here's something I've never even seen before. Are you guys familiar with this? Look at that. Square frying pan, patent pending. Shame they don't have a date. BSR style handle there. Oh, look at that. That's definitely unique. That is cool. So $17.50 with $12. It's got 4 more days to go. That's a unique piece for sure. I guess you'd make eggs with that. probably. Guess you make your little egg McMuffin things or whatever. That's kind of neat. Maybe I'll watch that. Oh, look at this old favorite that just says The Favorite. See, it's shiny like that. That leads me to believe it was probably nickel-plated. Partially nickel-plated. Yeah, look at that. Yeah, see, I think this is nickel plating that's kind of just starting to wear away. It's nice looking, or did somebody spray paint it? I don't know. Hard to tell. Sometimes it could be the lighting. I also wonder if sometimes these were restored in e-tanks that had stainless steel and some of the chromium got onto the actual piece. That's a concern. Number 9, large block logo with heat ring. That's a pretty piece. Look at that. In really nice condition. Inside is not too bad. Oh, that's a crack. Look at that. That's a crack right there. See that? See, it even goes up to the lip. Now, do they say there's a crack in the description? Look at that. Now, you could say that's a mark, but when it goes all the way up to the lip like that, that is a crack. So, do they say it in the description? Let's scroll down and see. This is a great skillet to hang on the wall, but it has an unfortunate crack, and it's a pretty big crack. The edges are tight. Okay, so they do at least recognize that there is a crack in it. This is why you want to look at these things, because I've seen stuff where I could see a crack and they didn't have it in the description. You got to kind of pay attention. Me Pet. Here's another one I have not even heard of. Let's take a look. Let's take a look at this. The Western Foundry Company, Chicago. Look at that. So what I like about these pieces is whenever you see a new foundry that's actually identified, it's really important to pay attention to the characteristics of the skillet, because you may find a version of this without the company name. And if it has enough unique features, you could use that to identify where it came from. This definitely has an interesting kind of outer heat ring, a smaller hole in the handle, a very distinct handle shape. Look at the kind of lip there is. Yeah, so is this almost a stew pot? Hard to tell. This is something that I would, it's about 10 inches, so it's like a number 8. This is one that I would want to save in case I ever saw a version of this without the label. You could identify it, because I might have assumed this was Asian, given the smaller hole, which is a lot of the Asian ones. But this, in this case, this is from a foundry in Chicago. So these pieces, I think, are important to us collectors in case for helping identify other kinds of skillets that might not be marked. Anything else interesting? I don't see anything else interesting. See a number 7 for $4.25. The BSRs are just not, unless it's a particular size. Bayou Classic, that's an Asian-made piece. Another O'Brien and O'Brien Chicago. Beehive lid, Ozark. So here's another piece that would be worth paying attention to, looking at the different characteristics of it. O'Brien, Chicago, Illinois. Another piece, you know, that's identified, which is pretty cool. I want to thank everybody for tuning in and enjoying the video series and supporting me thus far by subscribing and clicking like and all of that. And if you want to catch me on TikTok, sometimes I have previews of what I'm working on that I haven't published lately. That's at TikTok /@WisdomStudio.
And if you're on Facebook, look up the group Vintage Cast Iron Hunting, Restoration, Identification, and Sales. And until next time,